What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to Oscar's Cozy Corner. Now, Gameloft have decided to wake up, start teasing the next update. It's come very quickly. I wasn't expecting them to start teasing it yet, but over the past couple of days, we've got our very first snippets of what we can expect to come with the Peter Pan update coming in roughly 2 to 3 weeks' time. We should find out the next date on June 4th, which is the developer update. We do know that that is coming, and with that came a teaser image featuring some of the avatars from the game in pirate clothing. Now, of course, we do know that it's going to be a Peter Pan update. Who is coming with that update? We are not entirely sure. Given that they're kind of like leaning into the pirate side of things, there has been speculation that we might get Hook. I've spoke about this in a previous video. I'm not sure if we get Hook. I think we'll definitely get Peter, but as for the rest of it, it's all still kind of unknown right now. But for today's video, I wanted to jump into Star Path speculation and what some of the items that we could see come into this new Star Path. Now, while I was streaming yesterday, or just before I was streaming yesterday, Gameloft did post the Star Path teaser. We do get one of these with every update. So we're going to take a look at that first. I know that everybody's seen it by now, but we're going to take a quick look, and then we're going to jump into some of my theories on what we could possibly expect to see with this Star Path for the Neverland update. Alright, so this is the tweet that Gameloft posted yesterday. It says, with a sprinkle of magic, a Star Path teaser emerges. I believe that is a line from Peter Pan. And then they say, can you guess what to expect from these emojis? Now, underneath that, we do have the usual 3 sets of emojis. We've got a pirate flag and a monkey. We do have a mermaid and some coral. And then we also have a seashell and some bubbles. Now, they've made these difficult previously. They've made them easy previously. I feel like the first one is probably a pretty easy guess. I can see us getting a pirate-themed companion in terms of a monkey for this one, so it will be like one of the monkey skins from Eternity Isle reskinned into a pirate. Similarly to how we have the parrot as well. I do think, like, I don't know, if it is that, I might be a little bit disappointed, I can't lie, because the parrot was kind of like custom. Whereas if this is just a monkey with a pirate skin on it, will we kind of have that with the parrot in some ways? So I don't know. I'm going to reserve judgment on that one. We'll see. I've seen a few people say that it could be Jack the Monkey from Pirates of the Caribbean. That could be a good guess. I don't know. I'm hoping that they do something fun with it. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. With the second set of emojis, there is a mermaid and a coral. So I do think that is referencing Mermaid Lagoon. So in Peter Pan, in Neverland, there is a place in Neverland on the map called Mermaid Lagoon. And that is where Peter interacts with the mermaids while he's with Wendy. So I do think that that is probably what that is referencing, because there is also a Mermaid Lagoon at Tokyo DisneySea in terms of Ariel. I will touch on that in just a second, but I think there's a nice tie in there. And it does make sense because Ariel is where we found, we found Ariel in that section. So having it all be like Mermaid Lagoon, I think there's a bigger story tie-in. I'm not going to lie. I do think there's something else going on there, but I do think it's probably just referencing Mermaid Decor or Mermaid Lagoon in some way. And then again, I think with number 3, the seashells and the bubbles, I believe it was Zara I saw in the comments of this tweet. She did say that when Ariel is playing the drums, she's holding an accessory that is like a seashell with bubbles coming out of it while she's using it as a drumstick. That is absolutely possible. I could see that being the case. It could be an accessory. Otherwise, I said it might be interactive seashell, a decor, maybe just one of the big pieces of coral that has bubbles coming out of it. Useful for dream snaps. But I think that they could lean into that sort of theme. Now, I do want to give a shout out to friend of the channel, Tani Games, who did post a video just before this teaser came out, and she did talk about the Star Path theme and what she thought it was going to be, and she did say in the video that she thought it was going to be Pirates and Mermaids. And I think, Tani, that you are absolutely spot on. There were some great guesses in there, and some of the stuff that I had in mind you've covered in that video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a link to Tani's channel down in the description below. Please go and show her some love. She is a wonderful content creator and a friend of the channel, and someone that I consider my friend. So please go and check Tani out. But we're going to take a look at some of my wishlist items now for the Star Path, what we could see in a Pirates and Mermaids Star Path, which I think at the end of the day, we can pretty much consider that confirmed at this point. So let's jump in. I'm going to go through by category. We'll do clothing, furniture, dream styles, and then maybe 1 or 2 little extras. So I know that kind of like Pirates and Mermaids immediately goes to perhaps Ariel, the Little Mermaid, and then Hook from Peter Pan. There is one thing about me that if you've been watching for a while, you'll know that I love, and that is the parks. There is, of course, the Pirates of the Caribbean park in the ride. What is with my words? Ride in the park. Okay, there's a Pirates of the Caribbean ride in the parks, and that is a staple of kind of like Disney parks in general. People love the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. People obviously love Pirates of the Caribbean, and there was, I spoke about this in the other video, like a rumor or an initial kind of like concept of Jack Sparrow coming to the game. It's possible that Gameloft have decided to revisit that franchise or that sort of like idea. And I do think in terms of clothing, we could see something like this. So this is Red from Pirates of the Caribbean ride. And although she's been updated, because she has been updated, because they were selling brides previously. But I think that this sort of outfit could be something that we see in a possible Pirates and Mermaids Star Path. I just think it's very glamorous. I think that they have referenced historical outfits previously on surveys. I think this would fit the bill. I think that it fits the game. The big puffy sleeves, the ruffles kind of like down the skirt, the bodice, the nice big hat, very like My Fair Lady and stuff like that. So I do think that we could see something like this, and I would love if they gave it to us as separate pieces instead of one costume outfit. But we do tend to get a few little pieces of clothing through a Star Path. I know that sometimes they're gendered one way or the other. The Garden of Whimsy Star Path was really nice. I loved those additions, those kind of like dresses. So even though this isn't a million miles away from that, I do think that they could do something really fun with it, and possibly even with the hairstyle, but I'll touch on that in a second. And just to reference Red again from the ride, they have updated her. So she is now a pirate instead of selling wives, but they've updated the outfit as well. So she does have her own pirate kind of like aesthetic to her as well. And I think that this could work just as equally as kind of like the glamorous version in the previous iteration of the ride. I could see the hair coming. I could see a Jack Sparrow hair. Again, I've got Jack Sparrow to come in just a second. But this bodice, you know, like this corded bodice with the ruffles, the corsetry on it. I could see maybe a belt in the same way that we have here with perhaps some guns in it. I don't know about guns. I'm not sure about weapons. I'm not sure what Disney and Gameloft are comfortable with. So we'll have to see if they do lean into any of that, like swords and stuff like that, because she is holding a big old gun here. But I think just in general, this is like classic pirate outfit to me. And we do know that they do focus on the female player base. That is their primary demographic. So even though I would love more male clothing, I will understand if we do only get sort of like a female focused one again. I get it. So I could see this. If we don't get the previous version of Red, I could see this version coming as well, which equally I would be happy with because I think this looks great. Sticking with that Pirates of the Caribbean theme, even though I do know this is a Peter Pan update, I just think that if they don't bring Hook as a character, I feel like Pirates offers almost like a perfect option for them to lean into. And this is one of Elizabeth Swann's outfit. Elizabeth Swann was on the survey recently. If you did take that, we're not allowed to talk about it, but Elizabeth Swann was on there along with Will Turner and Jack Sparrow. So I could see them, if they're putting the feelers out of what we would like maybe from live action from Pirates of the Caribbean, this would be great. I adore Keira Knightley, so I would support anything that comes in the form of Keira Knightley whatsoever. But we could see this. This is not out of the realm of what they've given us previously in terms of outfits. So I definitely see this, perhaps minus the sword. I don't know. We've got a lightsaber now, so it's entirely possible that they use the same kind of like mechanic for holding it as they did the lightsaber. But yeah, I can see this being an option for an outfit, possibly a premium shop outfit, if not a Star Path. And finally, just in keeping with the outfits, I'm not even reaching out to different franchises for outfits. I really do think, I could be wrong, but I really do think they're going to lean into, not necessarily Pirates of the Caribbean as a franchise, but I think they're going to lean into this aesthetic and this era. We did see it in the teaser image with the split. Both characters were in pirate outfits, but I do think that it's entirely possible that they do lean into this aesthetic, and I'm down for it. I love it. These big hats with the feathers on, I could absolutely see that coming. These kind of like waistcoats with the big ruffled sleeves, buckles, belts, browns, you know, neutral colors. I would love to see a version of this Elizabeth Swann dress because it's very elegant. Again, it's got kind of like the fitted corset. It's got the nice sort of like dress bottom on it. It's got the ruffles. It's very pretty. It's a very pretty dress. And Keira Knightley, again, I feel quite pretty. She is a wonderful actress. I love Keira Knightley. I'll stop talking about Keira Knightley. But I do also think we could right, I think there's two options for hair. I do think that we haven't had a hair in a Star Path for a while. I don't remember the last one. It might have even been the night show, if I'm remembering correctly, but I could see us either getting a version of Jack Sparrow's hair, because this is iconic. The bandana and the hair, you could just completely block out the rest of Jack Sparrow and know that that is Jack Sparrow. So I could absolutely see that being a hair option during the Star Path. Alternatively, I could see them doing like a really elegant updo like this with the single curl coming down. That is of the time. It would fit the aesthetic of this kind of like pirate vibe we're going for. But I don't know. It depends how heavily they lean into pirates versus how heavily they lean into mermaids. Could be either. Whatever it is, I like it. I like it. I like this aesthetic. I could see this coming. I do think it's easier for them to lean into this than it is for mermaids, because we don't really have the mechanics for a mermaid tail right now. But I'm down. I'm down. I'm excited. This has got me really excited. I'm not going to lie. So moving on to furniture. Now, I've spoken about this in the past, where furniture and actual Star Path rewards recently have not really been IP focused. I will say Garden of Whimsy was really strong. I enjoyed it. There were IP elements in that. When we think back to Frost and Fairies and we think back to the Oasis Retreat, they were more generic. You know, the Oasis Retreat was a lot of wicker furniture, and it didn't have like huge staple pieces, I would say, that we've had in the past. So that's why I've got this image. So this is a Sims 4 mod. Now, I believe that this is from Arcane Illusions, if I'm reading that correctly. But I did find this and I was like, I could see this sort of aesthetic coming to the game if they were, again, leaning into that pirates sort of vibe, because it is these sort of items that Gameloft like to add to fill out the Star Path now. So not every item is like a showstopper. Not every item is a huge sort of like hit or a massive decorative piece. We do get a lot more of these smaller items. So I could 100% see something like this. This is a tavern set, so I could see like playing cards to put on the table, you know, variations of the candles that we have, maybe some whiskey barrels, you know, a big chandelier. I wanted to put this first because the other things that I'm going to focus on are sort of like what I would consider the big pieces in the Star Path, the showstopper pieces. But in terms of the general vibe, I could see the cohesiveness of this Star Path being within this realm, if that makes sense. And on that topic, I do have another one here. This is another Sims 4 mod by Gazul. So this is like a pirate bedroom theme. So this is a bed with a sail on it. This is very cool. There's a parrot kind of like on a stand. There's a chest, a wheel, you know, a barrel on the side, and this really nice decorative sort of like wall piece. So again, this might be similar to what we have from Eric with those blueprints, but I think they could like pirates it up a little bit. But on the whole, I'm thinking this might be what we get in general. So this is where I'm setting my expectations for the general items, and then hoping that some of the showstoppers come with maybe one or two big furniture pieces and then some outfit pieces. So in terms of like big pieces that I could see, I've not got to the mermaids yet. So this is still Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't know whether they will lean into this. I don't even know if they're going to do that. Most of this video so far has been Pirates of the Caribbean, but it was that sort of like pirate teaser we got, and then it was the pirate monkey that we got that sort of like triggered me to think, okay, maybe they're leaning into pirates quite strongly. I could see, considering we have the Winnie the Pooh entrance to the parks attraction, not the building, but this here, this to me, like it could be lifted and stuck straight in Dreamlight Valley. This is exactly the sort of thing that they would kind of like make. This is from Magic Kingdom. This is the entrance to the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. So it's roped off, and it has kind of like even the raised ground that Gameloft have started doing with some rocks. Then it has a big tall mast from a ship. It has the sign to the ride, obviously Pirates of the Caribbean. They could remove that if they wanted to and just put something on there, maybe like a skull and crossbones. And then there is kind of like a lookout point with a little skeleton looking out as well. And then there's a light on top. So I don't know about you, but I see this in Dreamlight Valley. Like, even though this is a real image, I could see this as a premium shop item, or hopefully something in the Star Path. But I think this could be quite cool as kind of like a showstopper, because we don't really have like many shipwreck items. And if they're leaning into that, I could see them using this and it would work pretty nicely. All right, so I do have some mermaid options as well. Now, this is what I was talking about at the top of the video. This is actually Mermaid Lagoon in Tokyo DisneySea. Now, Tokyo DisneySea is absolutely fantastic. The sort of like immersion, the theming that they do over in those sort of like Eastern parks is absolutely fantastic. This is meant to resemble Triton's sort of like palace. I know that Ariel's house is very much in this style, and I do wonder if they took inspiration from this as well for Ariel's house. But this is just the outside, and I could see, now that we have some of the giant flowers from Wonderland, and they brought those in the Star Path, I can see them doing like really big structural pieces that take up more space in the valley as sort of like centerpieces for builds. So even just like the shells, maybe some of the giant spires, I could just see Gameloft being like, yeah, we can adapt some of this into something decor-wise for the valley. But I did find it interesting that this is also called Mermaid Lagoon. So in Peter Pan, 1953 movie, on the map of Neverland, there is Mermaid Lagoon. He interacts with the mermaids there. The section that they put on the teaser image with the cross on it recently, that is actually where we found Ariel. I'm starting to see things tie together, and I've got a feeling there's going to be some sort of crossover with Ariel, Mermaid Lagoon, Peter Pan, the update in general. So I do think that it's a really nice blend, and I think they're doing a great job. But the fact that it could be something to do with Ariel, because that's where we found her, leads me to think, okay, well, maybe there's something in Tokyo DisneySea that they've sort of like seen and they want to draw inspiration from to kind of like merge those Star Path aesthetics together. But also, this is just a fantastic park to take general ideas from and build off of. It doesn't have to be a direct lift, but I think that they do the theming so well here that Gameloft could really benefit from some of that inspiration. If we actually take a look inside of this is what I was talking about. So they've got these giant kind of like coral reef sections. Even on the ceiling, they've got theming. These lights, these sort of like shell lights, these remind me of the Tinkerbell ones that we've gotten. So this is not out of the question for Gameloft to do as a nice little addition in the Star Path. We've got these big kind of like coral reef structures on the side. Now this is quite empty. I believe that this is a long exposure. So there's usually things here, and there are rides in this section as well. But I don't know, just on the whole, I think the theming of this area is amazing. And if Gameloft wanted to be like, okay, look, we could use this as a column and have like a really large piece of coral, because we do have a lot of columns in the game, use that coral as a column and use it in the Star Path as a decor item. I could definitely see that happening. This is another image that Travel with Elle took, and again, they've got lighting here, but these are jellyfish. I could absolutely see that happening. They've got these big coral sort of things, and that's what I was saying to that tweet. I could see a big giant piece of like coral or a big giant shell with bubbles like constantly coming out of it. Dotted around, again, nice coral, lighting, lovely. It just looks great. I would love to visit. I would love to go to Tokyo DisneySea, but I think it's always handy to look to the parks to see what they've got going on when Gameloft announces something. Because I'm like, is there something there? Could we take something? But last Star Path, I was disappointed because I had so many ideas from the Paris version of like Wonderland, and we didn't get any of it. So who knows? And finally, for furniture, this is a little bit of a wild card, but there is a promo image for the actual game. So this is a Dreamlight Valley image, and we do have Ariel led on a rock. Now, this rock is not available in game. I believe it is a debug item, so it does exist. You can modify it into your game. Obviously, I'm not encouraging you to do that. I don't even know what it is, where it is, how you get it, but it is an item that you can put in the game. And I thought when we spoke about this on stream yesterday, I was like, wouldn't it be cool if this rock was kind of like an interactable rock that when you went up to it and you went into photo mode to take a picture with it, it put you, like the top half of you, in Ariel's place. And then you could take a picture like as a mermaid on the rock. I thought that was quite neat. I thought that it could work. Whether it, that is wishful thinking. I'm not gonna lie. That is kind of out there. But I just thought it was a fun idea. They've been doing interactive items and stuff like that when we go up and interact with photo mode. So I thought, you know what? Let me become an actual mermaid lounging on a mermaid rock, just like Ariel. And that could be the showstopper. I don't know. In terms of dream styles, honestly, there's only going to be one thing that I entertain for this. I don't want to see another Mickey and Friends dream style the same as Tanny. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see any pirate Mickey or anything like that. I want to see Ariel in this dress. They've got the sparkles down. They've done the sparkles with the Clarion dress now. They've nailed the aesthetic of it, and they've nailed how it like functions and looks. I think that they can pull this off. I want to see this dress. I want to see Ariel in this dress. She can be glimmering around the valley, shining as much as she wants. This is my only option for a dream style for this Star Path, and I would like it. Thank you, Gameloft. Finally, you might be wondering just what this image is. Now, I couldn't find anything that was like what I had in my head, but I was thinking about the bonus house. Now, the bonus house for Garden of Whimsy was that adorable little teapot. And I was like, what could they do? Like, I wouldn't necessarily want like a shipwreck or anything like that for a bonus house for this Star Path. But I was like, wouldn't it be cool if there was a mermaid tail sort of like house that was coming out of the ground, and then let's say the door was here. So this was the closest thing I could find, but I thought this could make a really, really pretty house. Like, I know it's 2D and watercolor, but if we had a door here, maybe a window on the back or something, and then if we had, like, I don't know, coral or pebbles around the bottom, sort of like working their way up, orange coral, I could see that working amazingly as a bonus house. I think it could be a lot of fun. This doesn't really represent what I was going for, but Gameloft seemed to like doing their own thing with those bonus houses, so I could see them not doing something IP related and doing something kind of like neat like that. I don't know. I think that's a cool option. Let me know what you think. But it could be iridescent, it could have like a glow in the sunshine, it could glimmer, and then yeah, like I said, it could have some orange coral kind of like coming up the side and some big pebbles around the bottom of it. And I could see that being a house. All right, gang, that is it for this video. Like I said, I didn't want to do too deep of a dive into specific things. I just wanted to give an overview of what I would like to see from this Star Path, what sort of furniture ideas we could have, what sort of clothing ideas we could have. And I think that there's a lot that they can do. I mean, mermaids and pirates is such a huge theme. I think the Gameloft are going to nail it. They've been doing great with the Star Paths recently. I've really enjoyed a lot of the items, same as the premium shop. So who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. But Wednesday, June 4th, we should be getting the developer update, and we'll be able to take a closer look at everything that is going to be coming with these future updates. As always, if you did enjoy this video, feel free to give it a like, maybe subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It would be lovely to have you along for the ride, and come and join me when I stream sometime. I stream Mondays and Wednesdays and occasionally Fridays, so keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, I will catch you in the next one. I will hopefully see you on Wednesday for the developer update. We're going to be reviewing it live, and I'll see you in the valley. Bye.